Welcome back to another review by Mega Train Lover. Today we're having a look at a Bachmann locomotive this time. No prizes for guessing that. Also no prizes for guessing which loco we're looking at, because either you've looked at the title of this video or you've seen the text on the box. But this is a Class 6400 of the Great Western Railway. However, this particular example is in British Railways black livery with the early emblem. And you can also tell that the locomotive is not in the box because I've taken it out, I've given it a run in, DCC'd it. So yeah, it's all out of the box. But if we turn to the side, you can see that its product code is 31636A. It's slightly obscured by, I brought this from second hand from Rails of Sheffield. And as you can see, it's a Class 64XX or 6400, number 6422, and BR black with the early emblem. And as you can see, it accepts a 6-pin DCC decoder. Now, so what is the 6400? Well, the 6400s were a class of 40 Pannier tanks built for the Great Western Railway by Charles Collett, and there were 40 of them built between 1932 and 1937. They were similar in design to the 5700s, and also the whole Great Western Pannier tank design dated back right to the 1890s, or 1880s even. So it's a it's a very old design, but of course continuously updated throughout the years, as obviously the Great Western would do. They never really built a new engine. They just sort of updated an existing design of an older engine. But you know, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So yeah. So the 6400s, they were similar in design to the 5700s, which were introduced a couple of years earlier, but they were slightly smaller than the 57s. Although the unusual thing is that the 64s were slightly taller than the 5700s, but yet the 64s were known as the Little Panniers. I'm not too sure, that's a bit strange, but noticeably they are slightly smaller than the 57s. The key difference between the 64s and the 57s was that the 64s were fitted with auto train equipment, so these could work with the Great Western Auto coaches on branch lines in a push-pull formation, something which the 57s were never fitted with. So the 64s were placed in the same league as the likes of the 1400, which came a couple of years later, and the 4575s. Not all of the 4575s were fitted with auto train equipment, some of them were. So, as a result, because these were auto trains, could work with auto trains, these worked mostly on branch lines around Devon and Cornwall, and they also worked in Wales as well, as obviously lots of Great Western engines did. So, and they survived right up until the 1960s, when they started to be replaced with DMUs, and the last ones went in 1965. And out of the 40 examples built, 3 of them have survived into preservation. None of the 3 came from Barry Scrapyard. Only one example, I think it's 642 something, I'm not entirely sure, but that particular one came from Cashmore's of Newport, which is another scrapyard in Wales, which was nothing like Barry. Cashmore's scrapped steam engines as soon as they arrived in the yard. This one had a lucky escape. But so that one came from a scrapyard, but the other 2 were brought directly from BR. One of them, number 6412, starred in the Flockton Flyer, which was a TV series in the 1970s. So, anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to put the box to one side, and the locomotive is right here. Wow. Wow. I mean, it's such a nice looking model. It really, really is. It's got a very, very characteristic Great Western look about it. Obviously it is a Pannier tank. It's very, very unusual design. No other railway had a Pannier tank. Not that I know of anyway. But yeah, no, it captures the actual sort of face of a Great Western Pannier tank really, really nicely. Now, I will go on to the downsides. There are a couple of downsides, which, you know, I will point out first before I go into all the good things. First off, the buffers are not sprung. Now, I paid Now I've got this model for £90, which is a fairly good price. I mean, I think the RRP for these was about £110. But you know, if you got this at recommended at the RRP price, the least you'd expect is sprung buffers. I mean, it's not an expensive thing to add, not especially the price you're paying for the price you're paying. So, I mean, I don't know what it is with Bachmann that on some of their more recent models they've excluded sprung buffers. I haven't looked at their very, very recent models, but some of their models from about 2016-17, they didn't have sprung buffers. Not entirely sure why. Another thing which I'm not too keen about is the fact that the running board is made of plastic. Now, despite this, it is quite heavy because it does have a die-cast chassis block inside, so it's not light. I think it can pull a fair amount. I haven't tried it yet with a load, but I'm sure it can pull quite a bit. But that's the bad things out of the way. Let's have a look at the actual model, which, you know, overall it is a really, really nice looking model. You have the separately fitted lamp irons. Oddly enough, there's no lamp iron at the top, but I have checked real life pictures and some of them were not fitted with top lamp brackets in BR days, which is a bit unusual, but you know, at least it is prototypical. They didn't just exclude it for the fun of it. But yeah, so at the front you can see the number and the shed code 84A, which I think is Plymouth, but correct me if I'm wrong. Plymouth Lara Depot, correct me if I'm wrong. At the front you get a tension lock coupling with an M pocket, and you also get this box here is associated with the auto train equipment. You can see the two pipes, wires coming down from there. You get a separately fitted handrail running along both sides of the tanks, and they curve up and over the smoke box door at the front. You also get various separately fitted details, such as these handles above the front of the water tanks, these steps either side of the smoke box door, the smoke box dart. Yep, that looks separately fitted as well. Riveting detail on the buffers. You also get, I think this is part of the moulding. This pipe that runs to the top feed, I think that's part of the moulding. But I mean, it looks fairly nice. The British Rail early emblem is really nice as well. If it focuses, yeah, there we go. There's a number 6422 with the route classification A, which basically means that these can run on the entire Great Western network with no restrictions. I think that's what it means. Correct. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. You know, I'm always learning. I'm always open to learning something new. If I do get anything wrong, please do feel free to correct me. You know, I'm all for constructive feedback. It's absolutely fine. Anyway, let's have a look. I don't know why it struggles to focus. There we go. You get the brake rigging, which has been pre-fitted, and of course, on these engines, they were fitted to the outsides of the wheels rather than being inside the axles, as on most locomotives. You get the typical Great Western safety valve, although in this case, this one is a painted one rather than a brass. Can focus? Come on. There we go. You get the two whistles at the back, which I'm not entirely sure. I think those are made of plastic. Which, again, I mean, they don't look too bad, but I mean, for the price, you would kind of expect turned metal whistles, but then again, I suppose you can't really have everything. But yeah, you get the roof vent on the top, which is part of the moulding. It doesn't open. But the cab, if it focuses, the cab does look really nice. You get the regulator in the middle, which is painted. You also get the the different pipe work which is painted. So yeah, I mean, despite the fact that it is an enclosed cab, it does, the fact that they've gone into the length to make it look very, very convincing and quite frankly quite detailed is really, really nice. You get the colos on the back, which looks okay, not the best, but quite reasonable. You get the portholes at the back with the coal guards, and you get separately fitted hooks here, which these keep the fireman's tools on there, and you also get 3 separately fitted. I don't know if this. No, these are part of the moulding. These lamp irons, but they are there. And also here you don't have a top lamp iron, so it is prototypical for this engine. And a bit strange. I thought all British engines had at least 4 lamp irons, one at the top as well. Oh well. At least it is accurate, because I have seen pictures of the real thing, and some of them did not have the lamp bracket at the top. At the back you get the box for the auto train associated with the auto train equipment, and then them coupling at the back as well. The wheels look really, really nice. You also get the injector pipes here, and I think there should be. Oh, there's no toolbox. Oh, weirdly, there's a. I don't know if these were fitted with toolboxes, but on the 57s they did have a toolbox either side. But then again, I think because the 57s were used for shunting primarily, so yeah. So there was more demand for a toolbox there. But yeah, so I think the running board, it does feel plastic, but then again, there is, as I mentioned, there is quite a bit of weight to it, so it's not all that bad. It's not very light. It is actually a little bit heavy. Yeah, so yeah, all in all, it is a really, really nice looking locomotive. I do really like it. You know, I really like the Pannier tank design. So yeah, very, very nice. The livery is obviously quite basic, but it's not Bachmann's fault. It's just, you know, how they were painted during BR days. But you know, whatever detail needs to be there, such as the early emblem and the numbers, you know, they are applied really, really well. Yeah, it's just overall I'm really pleased with this model. Very, very nice. However, detail may be one thing. What about performance? Let's see how she runs. So here we have the Bachmann 6400 Pannier tank on the track. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to select a number, which is number 61, and off she goes. And away she goes. So I've put her to halfway, or running in speed, and she's running really, really well. Now, since I have run her in, she's performed a lot better. When I first put her on the track, she wasn't the best performer, but now she's running really, really well. Now, let's get a few shots of her passing. So yeah, as you can see, it's a really, really nice performer. Quite very smooth, not very loud. You can hear the motor a little bit, but it's alright. It's not as bad as other models. No. I mean, bearing in mind, my track is not perfect by any means. Yeah, it's still a really, really nice model. So just to conclude this video, If you are a Great Western fan, I definitely recommend her. She is an essential part of the Great Western auto fleet, auto tank fleet. Yeah, I mean, and even if you're just a fan of steam engines in general, I would recommend her. Despite a couple of detail flaws which I pointed out, overall it is a really nice looking model, and as you can see, a very nice performer as well. Especially if you have an auto coach to match, something which I do have, and I'll show you in future videos. With the auto coach, she just belongs. She belongs with an auto coach. I mean, yesterday I took a picture of it with my auto coach, and yeah, it just belongs. But then again, these were built for work with auto coaches, so yeah. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.